Welcome to What's in the Gallery Hall. My name is Stacy Pappas, and I am welcoming you to our next gallery at 285 Derby Street at Salem Access Television. I'm sitting here with two of the three artists that are showing here at the gallery from December 5th through January 18th. You've just seen Carrie Percival and Greg Cook, and again, I'm Stacy Pappas, and welcome to What's in the Gallery Hall. This is our last show of 1996, and we have behind Carrie and Greg are three of the works that Carrie has produced for, not just for the show, but three of her works that we can, first of all, welcome to the show, I should say.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. And do you want to start off, Carrie, maybe tell us a little bit about what we're looking at and where you learned to do your artwork?
Sure. These three works are screen prints on paper. I did them while I was still a student at the School of the Art Institute, my last semester there.
Yeah, and where was that?
In the School of the Art Institute in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all done with free screens. And were based on an idea of a hydroelectric dam that I saw in the Connecticut River. And I wanted to talk about sort of mundane issues in everyday life and how those relate directly to the environment.
So first, they're curling rods, right? In the first one, and somebody's plugging in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then somebody's plugging them in, and then the current is going through the high tension wires, and then the border is the curlers repeated again.
Mm-hmm. And then I see plugs on the right, the next one that's coming along.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then the third one, number 3, is Atlantic salmon. When they go through the hydro dam, they go through a centrifuge and their eyes pop out, I guess, unfortunately. So I just wanted to run a connection through all three pieces.
Well, now that you've explained it, I can. When I first saw them, I could see the silk screen process that you did, but having that explanation makes a lot more sense. And now, the viewers, we hope that you will all be able to come and see the artwork that's hanging here. It'll be on display through January 18th, and anytime the Salem Access TV Gallery building is open, the art gallery is open. And there's a nice corridor of space, and it's filled up with all kinds of wonderful artwork, and we have shows that go on all year long, 6 of them a year, and again, this is the last one for 1996. So maybe we can look behind me now, and we'll see some work that Greg has done. And Greg, how about you? So where did you go to school? Did Carrie both in Chicago?
We both went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and we met there, and yeah.
Anything you want to say in particular about the work that we're looking at right now behind you?
Several ones here have this teddy bear character in them, and that's Special Ted. He's a teddy bear, and that came about because I was corresponding with a friend, and she had this teddy bear from when she was young, and she would draw pictures of stuff in her room, and then also write stories, and just started thinking about this teddy bear, this little kind of sad teddy bear.
And that bear is really, really self-conscious. Like he's sort of like he's like this archetype of self-consciousness and being really aware of yourself in the public eye or something.
Kind of being nervous and self-defeating too.
As we move along, we're going to see this little image reappear again and again. So maybe we can just take a walk back into the gallery space and see the work a little bit more closely and see this little guy reappear. This is the Wheaties Breakfast of Champions.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of.
Is that on paper?
It's on an actual cereal box, and then I just painted it in where like a sports star would be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of about usually the bear is a failure, and in that one, it's kind of how he isn't successful, but he's in this position. position where somebody usually is successful, or only a few chosen sports stars?
Usually the person on the Wheaties box is the
Yeah, like a
Michael
Olympic
Jordan
hero or
right.
basketball star or
Right.
something. But here it's a little teddy bear, kind of struggling. And, sort of getting bashed about by the cereal even, so.
Yeah, he was only too happy, is he?
So.
How about this one right here? This is great.
That one I did last winter when it was that horrible blizzard and it just kept getting snowing and snowing. And it was like those kind of days where it's all gray and it never really gets sunny and blue and it's long and depressing.
Do you have a name? Do you name the works?
Yeah, that one's called Snowbound.
Snowbound.
This one's called Breakfast of Champions.
Now, how about the pennants? The little.
Well, that's
What is this? Yeah.
it says participation. It's a little, and it has a little artist's, what do you call it, palette and brush, and it's sort of, well, I mean, all the bear ones are sort of about success or about failure, and that one's about being in art shows and not winning, but just you get the participation with them because you're in it, that sort of thing.
You should have it on. You're participating in the show.
So.
And as we move along this way, here's our little friend again.
Yeah, that one's supposed to be me with the bear, and that's we're in the gutter because we're not making any money because we're artists, and it's just like kind of.
Speaking of making money and being artists, if these works are for sale, and a 20% portion of the sale does go to SATV since it's a non-profit company, and this is one of the ways of exposing the station to the viewer and also maybe helping to support the arts a little bit and getting someone that these, as you come in and view these up close, you'll see the quality of work. You're obviously both very well trained in what you do, and there's a whimsical quality to all of this, but it's really well done. Here's another one, Greg, you need to explain to us.
It's kind of a giant rubber ducky in a bathtub, and that's what it is. And it's going to be, I'm wrapping this one off.
This is a raffle, right?
Yeah, and this is, tickets are $1, and anyone can buy a ticket, and then the raffle's going to be on January 18th. And I did that so art's often really expensive, and this way anybody has a chance to win this painting.
Mm-hmm. There's a little sign right up above there, it tells us all about it.
It was part of a series I did for last Christmas, and I gave away most of them as Christmas gifts.
Mm-hmm.
There's one other around the corner.
Okay, we'll move on. Here we have a pennant. And,
Yeah.
this is something you did as well.
Yeah.
This wall's kind of Greg's wall right here.
Yeah,
We're
this
going
is-
to move over to Carrie's things in another minute.
Another one about kind of being nervous and shy, and like now, and trying to but kind of celebrating these things that usually are bad things. Usually aren't like good for being in public and success in the public arena, I guess. And I was also thinking about I was using baby blue and baby pink, baby girl blue and pink stuff color. I don't know, something about children and things like that. I mean, I'm not sure.
Starting out from birth.
Yeah, it's also about issues of kind of gender stereotypes, but it's not really.
Well, we've seen a section of Carrie's work and a section of Greg's work, and we're going to move along this way, and we have some works that are produced by Carrie, and we're moving to more current works, I guess.
Yeah,
some
these
pieces that-
are my most current works lately, and these are called Personal Expressions, and it's the Hungry Kittens line.
That looks like a starving little kitten.
yes, it is a starving little kitten. I've been a cashier and now I'm a manager of other cashiers, but anyway, counting down the checks every night, I realized like that for a lot of people, picking out their check is a really like their big moment to express themselves and choose art, and it's like a big art interface for, well, one of the art interfaces that people generally have. So I was thinking about all the images on money and thinking how serene and happy they look, when really, when people write checks, a lot of the time they're a little bit nervous that they're overdrawn, or maybe they won't make that rent payment on time, or they're waiting for checks to clear to make sure that they can make all their payments, and it's very anxious. So I was thinking, what if I made checks that reflected that anxiety?
So we have little kids with the wide eyes and that whole...
Yeah, I thought I'd do a cute line of them, and then I'm going to do some other ones too. I think some teen parent checks, and from teen parents from different eras, like the 50s and 70s and now, and maybe some also that I plan to do will have different financial disasters of history, like the Great Depression or the French Revolution, things like that. So I've been taking sort of cultural, visual, like roots of meaning that we have all around us all the time, that we deal with all the time, taking those and using those means of meaning to express things that I'm thinking and feeling. So, pretty exciting.
Very well done. Very nice. This is a neat way for the viewer to actually view this whole exhibit right from your own perspective. It's another way to view art. Most people come in and stand and look at a piece of artwork, and we all have our own perceptions about what we're looking at.
Yeah.
And then we have the opening at the art gallery, and the artists are there, but sometimes there are a lot of people around. You don't get a chance to meet and talk and hear what it is that you were thinking and doing. I like this. This is fun. Let's move on to the next section, and we have some work here that's produced by an artist that is Travis Dandro, who is not with us tonight, but we have two friends of Travis's that have incorporated his work into the show, and he was here for the opening. But we have 6 pieces of...
Six.
Are there 6? Okay.
There
Yep.
are 7.
Acrylic on plexiglass and wood. And we don't have Travis's... We have some names. Well, actually, we don't even have names. We have what you see here. And Travis is a Montserrat graduate, a local art school graduate, and he's produced, these have to really be seen up close. I'm not sure how well they'll translate on the camera, but when you're looking at them, there's a fuzzy background to them, and then there's some very sharp graphics on the front, and they look, well, maybe you, Carrie or Greg, or both of you could take 1 or 2 pieces and give us your perspective on it from someone who's a little more trained than I am.
Well, I spoke with him a couple minutes about them because I was here when he first came, and I thought they were really beautiful because they're so magical, and he's taking sort of inspired from children's book illustration, and then having content that's not usually in children's books represented in his work. They're really magical. They're
dreamy kind of.
really dreamy.
That's a good way to say it, the dreaminess, that's true.
Kind of like the Little Prince or something. And but
They sort of fade in and out of focus.
yeah, because the background is really is obscured by frosted glass, and you can't really see what's back there. So your eyes feel like you're not focusing on the background, but you're focusing on the drawing that's drawn in paint on the very front of the glass.
There are very few lines that he's got to make
Yeah.
that image, but that's true, that fuzziness in the back, they're tiny little pieces, but when you do look at them, it's true.
And I asked him what these were. I said, were those... At first I thought maybe they were like pigs in a blanket.
Uh-huh.
And then he said no, and I thought maybe they were Easter eggs, but I asked Travis what they were, and he said they were maggots. I thought that was really interesting. Sort
Yeah.
of marching.
It's might look like eggs too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought they were marching Easter eggs.
So he put them together. They're kind of a narrative, like all of them together sort of tell a story.
There is a similar theme that's carried throughout, just the way that they're presented on the wall here. How about, is there another one that strikes either one of you more than another that you'd like to talk about a little bit? Since we don't have Travis, we can
I think the group that he's working with, narrative, but sort of aimed at dream, it's not a linear narrative, but it's sort of a repetition of characters and scenes that makes kind of a connection in your head. between pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're trying to figure out, like it's supposed to be a little pig head, but it's not sure whether it's like a decapitated pig or something.
There's that maggot design again, too.
Yeah. And
I
just
like
the-
this one.
the
Looks
little-
like
He's
it's coming out.
crowned in that one. Looks like he's dreaming and then he's a king and then he's decapitated and the maggots take his crown away or something.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It looks like they're carrying him away.
And then
That's-
he's a ghost here. That's what
Mhm.
I thought, but I could be wrong. I haven't really.
And this last one with the image that's in the back, that has a little more detail in the background than
Yeah.
some of the others do.
Still misty though because
Yeah.
of the. But yeah.
I think that
Looking at
formally,
that little moon over there too with the cupping. It looks like the shadow on the ocean when it's full moon.
Yeah.
Really, really great.
Really beautiful.
I think
Really,
for-
really magical. Like you don't feel like when I'm in the same space with these, I don't feel like I'm with a painting. You know, I feel like I'm like looking inside one of those little teeny Easter eggs, and you're
Right.
like looking into some other world.
Mm-hmm. That's well put. I like that. That's really interesting. We have another piece right around the corner. Well, hopefully Travis's work will be enjoyed by the viewer. People can come down and see it up close to get what we were just talking about. Here's a really pretty piece. This is one of Carrie's. And it's called I Love You, E-W-E. It's oil on plywood. And it's springy. I was mentioning earlier, you kind of match the coloring there. It's,
Yeah. Yeah, I did it in springtime.
Mhm.
I also did this while I was living in Chicago. And, Chicago's in sort of this heart of really breadbasket-y type land. It's very, very agriculturally developed. Whereas out here, there's sort of, it's residential and there's a lot of woods that have grown up since the farms have been abandoned, and there's more of a awareness of woods and small ecology around. And so I was thinking a lot about an absence of wild animals, and also I was thinking about domesticated animals and how people really like pictures of animals that are like wild animals, like on T-shirts and stuff. They really like the idea of the noble wild animal that has integrity in its own environment, and it's beautiful, and it, you know, kills its own food and everything. And but what doesn't fit so comfortably in that equation is domesticated animals. They're not pure, and they're not, you know, they're in a weird place. And I think it's closer to how we are. We're in a weird place. We're domesticated and industrialized too, and you know, so I thought it was an interesting issue to deal with, and also dealing with some other issues like
Speaking of animals, there's
desire.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah, no,
interrupt you, but I
that's
thought
okay.
we could move on to
Yeah,
the
there's
next
another one that's part of that series
Mm-hmm.
called The Big Prize. Big Prize.
That's beautiful.
That's related in content.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of about unpure, sort of quote unpure creatures having sort of unpure thoughts, sort of, and the way, sort of bringing us closer to our own animality, the ambiguity in the whole issue.
Mm-hmm.
there's another pig that's, I think a lot of people notice in this spot, like the pig's really enjoying having all those breasts, being like kind of, you know, has like a creepy, like, kind of satisfied smile on its face. I think this work, both of these, also they, like leaving the wood raw, like.
I was going to ask
that's,
about the wood, if that was a related
That
point.
that was a conscious choice. I don't know why.
I think they're both dealing with levels of finish and levels and
Yeah.
kind of, I guess you could also say about sort of an honesty, about revealing our methods or revealing the, how the things are put together, revealing what's, like, this is made out of wood and it's a painting on wood.
Also, I really like the wood. Like, I really love the way plywood looks, and
It has its own
yeah, it's
little...
really beautiful. But personally, like, that's not enough for me. Like, I wouldn't be the type of artist who would just put plywood up, because I would be disappointed if I did that. So I allowed myself to sort of doodle on this and
Mhm.
go somewhere with it, and be inspired by the wood and enjoy enjoy it, enjoy all the colors, and enjoy the paint.
It's a nice mix. You have some of each, and the same thing on this one too. With the you can see the look of the plywood, but you have your own touch to it. Right behind the camera here, we have some more work that's going to be Greg's collection, and we could. Should we start closer to this end, do you think, or maybe move down a little further? Is there this section here? Are they executed at about the same time, or did you mix your work here?
The Guilty and Innocent ones, the ones that cardboard with the bears, are maybe from '94, I think. And the war one and the bottom one are from this last year.
Oh, I see. We have wood again here.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is war?
It's called like I think it's called World War or something like that, but I'm not sure what the title is. It keeps coming up. But
how about this one right here? This is kind of the colors are.
That one's called The Happy Dinosaur.
The Happy
And then it's back
Dinosaur.
from Chicago. And The Happy Dinosaur, I've done books and comics with him also. And it's sort of like a Barney kind of character. But it's this giant dinosaur that's happy and like fun loving, but it's sort of oblivious to its size, and it kind of gets in trouble because of that. Like it bangs into things and knocks things down.
Like skyscrapers.
Yeah.
And then the people who are around, they get scared just because it's big, and so they try and fight it, and then that causes more trouble. When they try and shoot it
The
or
Happy
something like
Dinosaur
that.
doesn't really notice.
Yeah.
He's kind of oblivious.
Yeah.
He's kind of the opposite of the bear of Special Ted, because Special Ted is so small and self-conscious and aware of himself, and the Happy Dinosaur is really
He's
the
kind of out
opposite.
there
Yeah.
bombing around, and he's kind of in the dark about what how he's viewed.
Yeah.
He's happy in his own way, and but he's going around smashing into things and people, and he's cute. He's got a nice look to him. I like that one. And then we have some underwear, and another. This is another.
It's an elephant, and it's dreaming of flying. Sort of kind of like Dumbo, but it's something that wouldn't fly, and so it's kind of like a happy dream.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
How about this one right here? What is this? In the chair.
This is supposed to be a nuclear bomb explosion, and I was doing it around the anniversary, or I started around the 50th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima, Hiroshima. And I just finished it recently, and it's I don't know, just kind of pretty clouds. But it's sort of about
It's kind of contradictory.
Yeah.
It's nuclear and pretty.
yeah, it's sort of, I mean, dealing with that, how it's sort of this beautiful, I was trying to make it really pretty, but it's this horrible thing. And I played with all these different titles, like I was going to call it, well, there's all these issues about using the bomb at the end of the war, and how that saved lives, because less people had to die to invade Japan or whatever. But, and so I was going to call it Speedy Into the War.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but then that really felt uncomfortable. And I didn't want to say that. I didn't want, because when you're not there to defend it, it's kind of, it seems like you're a jerk. And
Do you find it necessary to name something to make it feel complete in your mind once you complete it? Does it always evolve? Because I imagine
Sometimes the name changes, or you have like 3 alternate names that would all bring out different aspects about the work.
Mm-hmm.
for me, when I feel like the name's important, the text is important, I instead of writing, like it's on I paint it on the picture, and so because I'm often when you see art, you can't see the title with it, and so if I feel the title's important, I include it on the picture so you can read it with it, and otherwise, or if the words are important, I include them. So hopefully, otherwise, it speaks like everything you need should be there. At least that's what I trying to do.
It kind of makes it a final point to it. There are probably some names that you think of that just fit and that's it. And you know that's the one that you want to initiate or have associated with that particular work. But I could see how that it would change. How about this? Now we have cardboard. This is all? These are all done on cardboard. The little.
Yeah, there's a
little
series
Ted
of
is-
6 of them.
That's what you call them, right, little Ted?
Special Ted.
Special Ted.
Yeah. And some are guilty, and one's innocent, and then one's blank, so you can decide for yourself. And usually I hang that one crooked because I don't know, because it's
This one here.
Yeah,
Oh, look at
usually
this.
it's hung crooked, but this one I didn't, but because it's kind of off, I guess. I guess. Well, it was around the time of when O.J. Simpson thing was beginning. But I was just thinking about how you decide, like just by looking at somebody, whether they're innocent or guilty, or how you make these perceptions without knowing much about somebody or about the story. You know a little bit of the story, and I don't know. So it's something about that, and it's also about the bear is always kind of nervous and awkward and.
You can see that in his eyes.
Kind of fearful, and I think it's sort of that feeling of people are going to think he's guilty, or something like that. The
Like-
fear of being, thinking people that, the opinion
Like
that
when you're a little
thinking
kid
that-
and you go in the dime store, and the elderly people that run the dime store look at you, and you're like, I'm not going to steal anything, I'm just 8, I'm not going to steal anything, why do I feel like I'm going to steal something, why are they looking at me like that? It's that kind of thing, I think.
That's
I thought I was making that up, but then when I was older, I went with my little niece into a dime store, and the people that worked there were looking at us, and I was like, wow, when I was little, that really did happen. It wasn't just in my head. So it's weird.
Well, let's move around the corner and we can see some of the other pieces that. Oh, these are Carrie's again here. Did you do the frames on these?
No.
You painted this one,
Yeah, I did it on that one.
on the middle one.
A little. Actually, I just
What did you paint? Wasn't it white and bluish?
I don't know.
Are these on
it wasn't.
canvas?
Nope, that's on masonite.
Ah, okay.
They're on board.
Yep. There's
And,
a nice, yeah, you can see if you come up close, there's a different texture than the wood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those are, again, dealing with the agricultural issues and ecological issues and sort of like what would, like, if the industrialness was sort of stripped away for a minute, what is the actual transaction that's going on between us and animals that we use for their reproductive.
The center one is a milk carton, and
Yeah.
on the outside, it's a jug of milk. And you
Mhm.
see the little person over there extracting the milk right from the cow,
Yeah.
which is really it's what you just explained.
Yeah.
It's kind of just that where does milk come from? And it comes from a cow, and milk is actually part of, like, it's to feed babies, and so it's sort of part of this sexual reproduction, I guess. And it's this that we don't usually deal with that it comes from an animal, and it comes from this this animal that's it's supposed to be feeding this baby, and then.
The baby.
But we don't ever talk about that. It's always kind of divorced from that. You get it in the carton.
I mean, to keep them out. I went to a dairy farm to visit a dairy farm to do research, and
Now it's part of a performance you were doing.
yeah,
too.
and I did a performance series too based on the research I did. But it was just interesting to realize that I'd never realized that for the cows to produce milk every year, they have to have a calf every year. They don't just keep going once they have a calf. Like, I thought they had one calf and then they just milked for however long, but that's not how it is. They have to have one every year. And the calf never drinks from its own mother, at least at the farm I was at, because it would disrupt the flow of how much the mother is giving, and also the calf would the farmer said that the calf nursing from its own mother would cause the mother to let down her milk all at once, and the calf would drink it all and die or something. My mother, who grew up on a farm, said that that wasn't true, but but I don't know. It's just interesting issues that I don't know, probably not everyone thinks about.
Nobody really, we really don't. You go to the supermarket and you buy some milk, and you might think about, and many people I think of the meat issue, but when you start to think about where the milk comes from, it's a
Yeah.
There's another one over here. We have the little baby in the. Looks like is she or he in a shopping cart?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was in a shopping cart. And,
It's great.
so it's pretty interesting to do that work. I feel kind of weird about this work. Like it's difficult work, and it's difficult work to look at. And it's sort of hard for some people to
Because of
talk
the
about.
message. that you're trying to-
Because it's so weird and scary. So kind of degenerate. I mean, I can't imagine that many people.
But it's not done in a depressing way. I think all of your work,
Oh,
both
yeah.
of you, you have a light feeling and a young spirit that comes through on the work that you look at.
Yeah.
It's something thoughtful, but it's presented
I
in a
think
way
you're
that's
right.
not.
Well, that's something that I felt more free to do when I went out to the Midwest. Here in New England, it's very, there's a very puritanical attitude toward art, and people tend to feel like the art has to be really meaningful, and therefore it has to be, if it has any meaning, it has to be very Gothic,
Uh-huh.
very not
Wow.
enjoyed.
Right.
Not enjoyed. So
Not
Also not
pretty,
bright
not pretty
colors.
colors.
no
to
colors,
it.
humorous,
no
so
pretty,
it's really-
no pretty art. So when I went to the Midwest, it was okay to do that. It was okay, and there's a tradition there, in the last half of the 20th century that they're called the Chicago Imagists, and they do art that's really influenced by cartoons and popular art, and not just cool dry art, like not just really dry industrial cartoons, but warm, fuzzy, silly cartoons, and was really freeing to go out there. It was really fun, and there's a really nice attitude toward painting. So it was really fun to go there, and I hope to bring some of that spirit back here.
Mhm.
It's fun. It's more
That's
fun.
nice. I like that. That's a nice way to a nice attitude, I think, to bring back to the provincial East Coast, because we can be like that, or the New England area.
Because I grew up here, so I'm very used to it.
Now, and Greg grew up, you grew up
I
in
grew
Chicago.
up in Chicago, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working on a New England accent, so I'm kidding. But, so I'm trying to be more serious and dour. So,
I want to thank you for sharing your insights into the gallery here at Salem Access Television, for hanging your work and letting people, allowing people to come in and see it. And we just want the viewers to know that it is here, the work is hanging here at Salem Access Television, 285 Derby Street. And whenever the building is open, it's open to the public. Anyone can walk in and you can view these works for yourself. And we have a little box at the desk that we'd love to hear people's input. And the works are for sale. You can get a price list, and
and come by a raffle ticket too.
come and buy a raffle ticket, and you can win one of the paintings that are here. And we want to thank you for watching what's in the gallery.